Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we're going to be working on this mini skirt, and as you can see here, it's just something very simple to do. This yarn comes with these colors predetermined like this, so there's no change of color at any point as we work on this, but you can definitely use any yarn of your choice. You can use multiple colors, so you can change it the way you want it. Or you can buy this donut yarn and do it the way I did it here. As well, you can do this with just one solid color if you wanted to do just one solid color. But the point is so that you can learn how to do this beautiful pattern that I did for this project, okay? All right, so let me go ahead and grab our material so we can go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so before we get this project started, I'm just going to show you the materials that I'm using for it. And as you can see here, I am actually going to be frogging a scarf that I did a while back. I don't even remember when. I will link the video of this tutorial in the description box below, but I did this probably about 3 or maybe even 4 years ago. So I'm in the era now where I am frogging my old projects that I still have, just to be able to have yarn to make new tutorials, because making tutorials and not making too much money out of it is really costly. So I'm just spending way too much and making almost nothing out of it. So anyways, so this is one of the projects that I'm gonna be frogging. So this yarn here, I will try to find a picture of this, but this is pretty much donut. It's Ogo Donut by Inspiration. I think it's Karen Ogo Donut. And yeah, so just to have all the details of this yarn, I will put the link of that video in the description box so that you can go back and see what size of yarn it is, how much of yarn you get in the donut and things like that. But this is what I'm gonna be frogging out of that, okay? So I'm gonna be using my crochet hook here, which is an 5mm crochet hook, or H8 US, and I think, I'm not sure what the recommendation for this is, but this is a medium weight number 4. So I'm assuming around 5.5 is probably a good size for that. I have my scissors here. So I have a scissors to be able to cut my yarn. I have a tape measure to determine our size. I have a darning needle to be able to join anything that we need to join. And as well, I have these pins that I've been using. I'm beginning to like them quite a lot. Instead of using the actual stitch markers that are traditional for crocheting, I'm using pins because I find them very practical and easy to use. So yeah, that's all the things we're gonna be using. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so I had actually gone ahead and started my band for the skirt here, and as you can see, I just completed the length that I want, or the size that I want. And so I'm gonna be using this yarn here, just another scrap yarn that I have around, to show you how to do the band here, or how to start the band. And then we're gonna pick up on here to be able to show you what to do for the next part of the tutorial. But I'm gonna show you how to do that with this, and then we can pick up here. So again, as you can see, how the colors are changing. It goes from this brownish color, and then the next color is gonna be this red, and then it's this kind of like almost tan color, or brownish tan, and then pink, and then this kind of like off-white, almost a shade of pinkish, but it's a very light pink, almost purple. Okay, so this is all the yarn that we're using. Hopefully it's gonna be enough for my skirt, but we're gonna have to just try and see where we go with it. Okay, so let me put this on the side, and then I'm gonna grab the yarn that I'm going to be using to show you guys the tutorial, so I can show you how to do the band. And then from there we will move on to continue on the one that I have already completed. Okay, so this is again just the same size yarn. It is medium weight number 4, so nothing different from that one, except it's 2 different types of yarn, obviously. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and prep my yarn here so I can show you how to do the band. So normally, for those of you who are, like, I guess, fans of the channel or follow the channel more frequently than others, you will see that I do my band very similar. It's always pretty much the same. So I start by leaving a tail here to be able to join 2 sides of our band. And so I'm gonna just make sure I leave that like that, and I'll go ahead and do a slip knot. And this is how I do it. I just kind of loop it around my thumb like this. Then I slide it off my thumb, put my hook through, yarn over, bring it through, and then let go like that. Okay, And then I'm going to start my band. My band is going to be how wide I want the band of the skirt. So the number of chains you do will determine that. And if you do less chains, it's gonna be a smaller band. And if you do more chains, it's gonna be a wider band, okay? So I do mine often very similar, which is a chain of 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and then I will skip that chain right here. In this chain I will do a single crochet, but as you will see here, we have the front of the chain has these like V shapes, and then if you flip it to the back of the chain, it almost looks like a train tracks. It's just like these lumps that keep repeating themselves like that. Anyway, so I skip this chain right here, and in that I just flip it to the back of it, and I will grab that lump over here of the next stitch to complete my first single crochet, just like that. Okay, and then I'll go into the next and just grab the lump in the back like this and complete a single crochet, and then I'll go to the next and do the same. And then I just pretty much use the 10 stitches, because we skipped the first one there. We're gonna end up with 10 stitches for this part of the project. And yeah, so I just go ahead and do my single crochet by grabbing the back of the chain. Now, can you do this by going through the front as well? Yes, you can. So a lot of people would normally just pick this stitch right here and complete the single crochet here. I just happen to do it like this, and I prefer like this because it makes it so that this side here, let me finish this to the end, and then I can show you what I'm trying to say. I'm a visual person, so it will be easier for me to show it to you than to explain it. Okay, so you just do your single crochets going in the back loop. And if you ever find that this is kind of curving in like this, don't worry. As you work through it, it will kind of straighten itself. Okay, and I'm just gonna go grab the back of that chain like this, and then in the final one I do the same. Okay, so what I was saying was, if you look at this, we continue to have these V shapes on this side, and it will be the same on the other side because we went through the back loop of the chain instead of going through the front loop. Okay, so that's my first row completed here. And so I'm gonna start the second row. So I'm gonna do a chain of 1 and turn. And for the band, you're gonna be doing a chain of 1 the whole time. Okay, so chain of 1 to start your row. And then this doesn't count as a stitch, so I'm gonna go right into the very first stitch and go in the back loop and complete a single crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch and complete a single crochet. And then I'm gonna go into the next stitch and complete a single crochet. And then I will just do this across or all the way down to the end of the row. And as you can see, this second row here is gonna be your repeat row. So you're gonna be doing this until you go to the end of how long you want your band to be, or how much of the length you need to be able to have the right fit for your band. Okay, so as you can see here, this is my 9th stitch. In this 10th one, which is my final stitch, I'm gonna grab both loops instead of just the back like this. I'm gonna go ahead and grab both loops to do my final single crochet, and I'm gonna be doing this on every row. So I start with the chain 1 and then do 9 single crochets in the back loop, and then in the 10th stitch I'm gonna go through both loops. Okay, chain 1 and turn, and then I will just repeat that again. So in the very first stitch, go ahead and do a single crochet, and then just repeat that all the way to the end. Okay, so it's a very simple way of doing the band. I tend to do the band the same way most of the time, 99.9% of the time. If you prefer to do the band differently, you absolutely can do that. I would also try to get into maybe doing the band in different ways, just for the sake of the tutorial. That way you guys can learn how to do the band in different ways as well. But that will literally just be to make sure that I have variation of how to do the band, but not necessarily because I like to do it in the other ways. I prefer to do it like this. Okay, so again, I'm just going to that final loop in both loops, final stitch in the both loops, and then chain one, and then I just start over again and I repeat the same thing. Okay, so this is a very simple part of the tutorial. I mean, the whole thing is going to be simple because it's a very detailed tutorial usually when I do it. Yeah, but it's going to be a simple, I guess, part of it because you just kind of work yourself straight instead of in another kind of direction. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just continue working this, and as you can tell, obviously I have already completed doing my band. So what I will do here is I'll just talk about the sizing of how much you have to do to be able to get your size, and then when you have that done, we will come back and work on the next part of the project. But you should have these kind of like valleys and lips like that, and that is pretty much so that we can create a very stretchy but also very kind of like textured type of look. Okay, let me grab the one that I have finished, which is the actual project, and then I'll go ahead and continue there with you guys. Okay, my lovelies, so this is the band that I had previously completed, and as you can see here, I did it to be able to fit what I'm looking for. So I'm going to talk about the sizing here a little bit. So the reason you would have your tape measure would be to determine the width of your skirt. So you want to be able to make sure that it can actually come up from the bottom when you pull it up. And so the way to get that size is you just have to measure the widest part of your hips. So for example, if I just place this on me, I know you cannot see this, but if I place this on me just to find out what that size is, I'm about 40 inches for the widest part of my hips, I guess. And so I'm gonna need to make sure my band can stretch to that length or to that size. Okay, and the reason we're saying stretch is because you don't want to do it that big. Obviously, it will be way too loose for your waist. So what we do is we work the band so that if you stretch it as much as you can, because this is a very, very stretchy pattern. So if you stretch it as much as you can, that it can come around the widest part of your hips. Okay, so sometimes instead of measuring, maybe just keep working on your band and then just keep stretching it and putting it around the widest part of your hips. And then when you start, you can see that it comes around fully and be able to almost meet, maybe even meet or almost meet, then you can stop there. The reason we stretch it is so that this unstretched can still go around your waist easily, comfortably. And if it doesn't, there's a workaround on that. We can just do a band for a drawstring for our waistband here so that we can kind of make it fit. Okay, so I know most people have wider hips and very small waist, or some people have almost similar size for their waist to the widest part of their hips, and so this is gonna be, you measure it to fit you. Okay, so if you pull these and it comes up to about the same size as your waist, then you would obviously have this be a lot more the same when you stretch as when you don't stretch it, to be able to fit the size. So if it's, let's say, 20 inches, then you will do this until it's 20 inches and then you will stop, or actually before that, when you stretch it, you will get to 20 inches. Okay, all right. Now that that's done, for those of you who want to know, I did 108 rows altogether, and I have the size that I want for my waist, for the widest part of my hips as well as for my waist. So I'm just going to show you how to do the next part. Okay, so as you can see, this is the string that I left hanging to be able to join my work. And so I'm going to grab my darning needle, and I'm going to thread my darning needle here so we can join, and then we can go ahead and get started with the next part of the project. Oopsie. A lot of people find this part here a little bit difficult. I just usually fight with it until I get it in. I don't have a choice. I used to have like those little things that you can use to thread your needle, but I misplaced them at some point, and then I just realized I wasn't even using them that often like that. Okay, and the way you do it, you just line up your band so that you can have it, make sure obviously it's not twisting here, so you can have it nice and lined up, and then you will join. And as you can see, the reason we leave these hanging here is so we can have our working yarn not disconnected. We don't have to cut join and then go back to working on it. So this way you just join with the amount of yarn you had left hanging all the way here, and then you can just pick up here to continue working on your project. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go into this very first stitch, go through both loops, and then grab the other side and go through both loops as well, and then just pull. And then I'll do that one more time in the same stitch, and often for the second time I just go and do it like that, and it just kind of secures the end here so it doesn't come off easily. Okay, and then for the next 9 stitches I'm going to go through the front loop on the closest to me, and then the front loop closest on the other side. Okay, and then pull, and then this closest loop to me, and then the closest loop to me on the other side, then pull, and then I just do this all the way until I have my last stitch. In the last stitch I'll go through both loops just to again secure it and make sure it's done nice and tight. Okay, so this part here is not that difficult. A lot of people will use slip stitch to join this, or single crochet to join this. That's an option you can use. So I'm just joining it the way I'm used to. So if you want to join this part in the most in a way that you're most comfortable with, please go ahead and do that. But as long as you join your 2 sides here so that you have a big circle at the end to work with. Okay, so I just go and finish that, and then for the final stitch I go through both loops on this side and then both loops on the other side. Okay, and then pull, and then I'll go through the same loops one more time just like we did at the beginning, and this time I'm going to put my yarn like this and then bring it through, and then it's almost like knotting it there, and then I'll remove my stitch my darning needle. Okay, and then you will see it's like that. Now often, as you can see here, it just kind of pulls a little bit because I didn't pick up the yarn properly, or the stitch properly. You can always correct this by going back with this and then kind of knotting here, or you could just literally put another piece of yarn here of the same color, obviously another yarn here, and then just pull it close. Okay, but that doesn't bother me that it's like that there. All right, so now we just have a big circle like this, which is our waistband. And so I'm going to show you how to start the next part of the project. Okay, now for this part here, we're just going to do a double crochet around the waistband, and so I'm going to show you how to do that, and then it's going to allow us to do the next part of the project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a chain of 2. My chain of 2 counts as a double crochet, and then I'm going to go into this area right here and complete a double crochet. And as you can see, we don't have actual stitches to work with. So what I do is when I go into this section that kind of comes out here, the next one will be in the section that kind of goes indented, that indents or kind of faces away from me. And then the next one will be on this section that kind of protrudes. And then the next one here. Now, this is not always how I do it. It depends on whether you want to do increases here to make this part of the project bigger. But if you don't, this is how I do it. If you do, then you would probably want to put a stitch, maybe one here, then one here, and then one here. And that would allow you to have a lot more stitches at the end of the row, okay? But for now, I'm just gonna go around and do double crochets. So you should have something that looks like that, okay? And then I just continue to work my double crochets all around the band. And then when I get to the beginning, on the beginning being right here where we just started the row, I'm gonna come back to the video and I will show you what to do for the next part, and I'll show you a couple of rows just to make sure you understand the pattern. And then when that's done, I will have you guys work majority of the project before we come back and do something also slightly different. And then yeah, so that's what we're gonna do here, okay? So meet me when you get back to the beginning of the project here, or the row, but just make sure you do consistently your double crochets the same way, and then come back, okay? See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed my first row here of just double crochet around the band. And as you can see, just a very simple double crochet, nothing very complicated on that, okay? So I have come all the way around, and as you can see, I just did my double crochet here. I'm gonna do one more right here just to make sure we bring this kind of area closer. So I'm gonna go right here and just do my final double crochet like that. And then I will slip stitch on top of this chain 2. So we have 1, 2, and then I'm gonna go on top right here, and I'm gonna do a slip stitch so that it kind of brings it in like that. Okay, so that is the first row, and then I'm gonna now show you how to do the second row. The second row, you do a chain of 2, always starting with a chain of 2, and it will always count as a double crochet. Okay, and now we're going to do an alternation of front post double crochet and back post double crochet. Okay, so I'm just gonna yarn over. This chain 2 is connected to this stitch right here, so I'm gonna go into the next stitch and I'm gonna complete a front post double crochet just like that. Okay, and then I will yarn over in the next stitch right here. I'm gonna do a back post double crochet just like that. And then in the next stitch, this one right here, I'm gonna do a front post double crochet. And then in the next, it's gonna be a back post double crochet. And then I just do this around the whole circle here. I'm just gonna go all the way around. And then when I get back to the beginning of the row, I'm gonna come back to the video, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to finish this row off and how to start the next row. Okay, so for this, just continue to alternate your front post double crochet and your back post double crochet. Okay, I will see you guys when you get back to somewhere here. You may end up doing either front post or back post on this. When you have done that, or just finish it on the second last stitch and then come back, and then we'll finish the final stitch together and then start the next row. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my second row, as you can see here, all around the band. And as you can see, I just came to the very second last, which is this one here. And as you can see also, the color is now changing. So this yarn here is actually not me changing the yarn as we go. It changes the color by itself. So there's a hard stop right here somewhere. See, the very hard stop right here with this color, and then the red starts. And this is I love this because the color combination that they have put together is very awesome, just the way it kind of flows. Yeah, so anyways, so as you can see, I am now kind of digging into the new color. And then now we have just one stitch, which is this one here, and this is a front post double crochet. So we're gonna go ahead and do a back post double crochet into this stitch right here, just like that. And then now what we have left is this stitch, but it's connected to the chain 2 that we created. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and do a slip stitch on top right here, just like this. Okay, and this completes the second row. Okay, and now for the third row, and again, by the way, if you place it down like this is the texture we're gonna be having for this skirt. So it's a very nice textured skirt. Yeah. Okay, and then now we have come to the end of our row 2. For row 3, we're gonna do a chain of 2, and then always it counts as a double crochet, and it's connected to this stitch right here. So it's connected to the chain 2 from the previous row all the time. Okay, and then now I'm gonna need to go and work into this stitch right here. So I'm gonna go right here and do a double crochet, just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a double crochet into this stitch, and this is connected to this stitch that goes to the back right here. Okay, and then this one here is gonna connect it to that stitch. And so for this row, it's just a row of double crochet. So we just go ahead and do a double crochet in every stitch around until we come back to the beginning. And then when we come back to the beginning, we finish the row to connect to the 2 sides. And then we started the 4th row. So the 4th row, if you have not kind of guessed this, it's gonna be another row of the front post, back post, double crochet. So this is the alternation we're doing. It's gonna be one row of double crochet like the one we did first. The second row is a front post, back post, double crochet alternation. And then the third row is just a row of double crochet around. And then the 4th row is front post, back post, double crochet alternation. And that's pretty much what this whole project is gonna be like. And so I'm gonna just show you guys how to finish this row and to start the next, so I can show you again how to just kind of begin the previous how to do this row again here. Okay, but for this row here, very simply, it's just a row of double crochets. Okay, so it should look something like that. You go from this kind of pattern to just like double crochets. So go ahead and complete this around the circumference here or around the circle. And then when you come back, as you can see, this is a front post double crochet right here, but you're not gonna worry about that right now. So it's gonna go as a stitch right here and as a stitch right here to correspond with that. And the next stitch is gonna be this one because it corresponds with this, and then we're just gonna go ahead and slip stitch on top here. But I will come back and show you guys how to do that. So just go ahead and finish this row of double crochet, going into every single stitch, and then come all the way to the beginning of the row. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my third row, and it's just a row of double crochets. So as you can see, it just looks something like that. So very simple. And then now, as you can see, I just did my last double crochet here, which is connected to this stitch right here. So this stitch here is connected to the chain 2. So I'm just gonna go right straight into that chain 2, the top of that chain 2, and complete a slip stitch like this, okay? And now I'm going to start the second row, the 1, 2, 3, the fourth row, and I'm going to do a chain of 2. And then now I'm going to go back to doing the second part of this, which is the second repetition. And I'm going to do a front post double crochet there. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to do a back post double crochet like that. And then a front post double crochet again right here. And then a back post double crochet. And then I'm just going to go ahead and alternate these all the way around again. And then when I come back to right here, I'm gonna pretty much finish doing my whatever alternation of the front or back post. It will be right here, and then I'll slip stitch and then start my row of double crochet. So this is pretty much the repetition of this project. So it's a first row of double crochet all around, solid, nothing different. And then the second row is going to be front post, back post double crochets, and we alternate between those two rows around until we get to a point where we want to create a slit, because as you can see in the pictures, this video or this project has a slit. So this video is going to explain to you guys how to do that slit, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just work my row of front post, back post double crochet until I get to here, whatever post I'm gonna be doing here. I'm gonna finish it and then slip stitch on top of the chain 2, start my row of double crochet solid, and then do the same thing, go all the way around, slip stitch, chain 2, start the row of the front post, back post double crochets. So I'm gonna continue to do this until I think it's an appropriate place to start to do the slit. And for me, as you can see, I am really praying and crossing my fingers that I'm gonna have enough yarn here to do a full skirt, because if it's not, I'm gonna try to find another yarn that kind of looks similar to these or feels similar in terms of the touch to finish it. Even though it's a mini skirt, I want it to still be a length that is appropriate to wear. I don't want it to be too short. So I'm hoping to do maybe these two colors, finish the red in continuing to repeat this here, and then maybe come back and do the final two colors here to create a slit, or just however I'm gonna think it's appropriate. So I'm gonna work the rows here and I will probably try it on. The slit is gonna be on our left leg thigh. So it's not the worst thing, because if it's just a slit on the thigh, it's not gonna reveal much of your private. So in that case, you can have it as high as you want, you can have it as low as you want. So I will try to make sure I finish these two colors here just in the solid first without a slit, and then I'll try it on. If I need to come back and do the slit with the pink, I will do that. But if I think I may need a few more rows of just going around, then I will continue to work some of the pink, and then I'll do the slit for the final, the half of the pink, and then final color at the end. But whichever way you do it, you're gonna do it to satisfy your desire or your style or whatever you want to do. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and just continue repeating this until it's time to do a slit, and then come back to the video, okay? I will see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and worked the first part of the project here. So as you can see, that's pretty much how it looks like so far. So I worked this red color where we stopped last time, and then this next block of color here. I love how these kind of turned out, you guys. because look, it just happened to be that every time I start a new color, it almost starts right at the beginning of the new row, which is, it wasn't actually planned at all. It's actually really cool that that is happening instead of it, for example, starting in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, so I have it here. So I have about 17 rows altogether from here to here. And then of course the band is a different part of it. I'm just gonna grab my tape measure here. So I think I have, what do I have so far? I have about 10, sorry, I have 10 inches so far. And that's all the yarn I have left. So this is probably all we're gonna be able to use today. So I'm hoping to get another, I don't know, 7, 8 rows from this, but we will see. But I think it will be long enough for a mini skirt because that's the point of this, okay? All right, so now we're here, and I told you guys, for me, I was gonna start the slit to do these 2 final rows and with a slit. So that's what I'm gonna do now, and hopefully you have reached the point where you want to do a slit as well. If you don't want to do a slit, you would literally just continue this, what we did here, until you reach the length that you want. So it's not something that is mandatory for everybody to do, but I'm assuming for the sake of this tutorial, you clicked on it because you wanted to do it with a slit as well. Okay, so I'm gonna show you now how I will do that slit. I did the row of double crochet was the last row here, so I will see if it's gonna be something that is easy to turn, because I'm not gonna be able to go around. I'm gonna have to end up now kind of turning the other way. So let me just finish this here. It's kind of ended itself. So I'll do my double crochets here. So if you were like just kind of going and continuing, you would just go ahead then and slip stitch on top of this here and then start your new row. But since I am creating my slit here, I'm going to need to go back this way. But what I will do, because there's no stitch here that I would work on, so because this is connected to that and this is connected to this, but I don't want this here to be a really big gap of the slit, so I'm going to do another double crochet into that here, just something like that, okay? And then I will chain 2 and turn, okay? Turn it like this. And then now I will work my back post, front post, back post double crochet. So this chain 2 counts as a stitch, and it kind of lines up with this one here. And so the next stitch I will work into is this one here, and I'll do a front post double crochet, just like that. And then in the next one, I will do a back post double crochet, and then a front post double crochet in the next one here. And then I will just now continue to do the same thing we've been doing all around until I get back to the other side of this row, which is going to be right here, okay? So work your alternation of front post, back post double crochets until you get to the other side. If you have maybe about 2 or 3 stitches left, come back to the video so I can show you how to finish this row and then how to begin the next row, okay? I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the first row here. It's this color pink, and we've come back to where we started the row here. So I've just done my front post double crochet on that stitch. I have 2 more stitches, so I have this stitch here and this stitch. So in this stitch here, I'm going to do my back post double crochet, just like that. And then I'm going to go on top of this chain 2 and do a double crochet. So just go on top of that and complete my final stitch, and it's a double crochet like that, okay? So this is where we start to create our slit, and as you can see, this is how it looks like. When we come back around, we're gonna do a double crochet here, so it's gonna kind of keep it a little bit inwards. I'm a little bit afraid it may make this a little bit wider, but it's okay, we will see, okay? So now that I have finished that, I'm gonna start by doing a chain of 2 and turning. And then I'm going to do the next row, which is just a row of double crochet. So this counts as a double crochet. So it lines up to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a double crochet in this stitch right here. And then I'm gonna move on and do a stitch right here. And then a stitch right there. And again, so nothing changes here beside now, instead of going around and around and around, we are turning to be able to make sure we have our slit here. So we just continue to do our double crochet rows around all the way until we get back to here again, okay? So do that, and when you have maybe a stitch or two left, come back to the video so I can show you how to finish off this row, and then I will just quickly start the next row with you, and then I'll have you guys work the rest of it. Okay, so continue doing your double crochet stitches here, and then come back when you have reached the other side. Okay, my lovelies, so I completed my second row in this pink, and it is just a row of double crochet, so just like that. And as you can see, I have 2 stitches to go. I have this stitch here and then the chain 2. So I'm just gonna work my next double crochet on top of that double crochet, and then this is my chain 2, so I'm gonna work a stitch on top of that chain 2, and then that should complete this row just like that. Okay, so as you can see, we have our slit starting to form here. So yeah, and then what you do now is you just repeat what you did in the first one. Here you do your chain 2, you turn, okay, and then you go ahead and do your front post double crochet in this stitch right here, just like that, and then back post double crochet in the next stitch, and then do your front post double crochet in the next, and then you just pretty much repeat this over and over and over again until you have the length of what your miniskirt is gonna be. So for me, it's pretty much just gonna be until I finish the yarn that I have left. So when I finish this pink color, which I still have that much left on it, and then after that I'm gonna finish it off with this row here, or with this color here. Okay, so it's gonna be just to finish the color completely, and then wherever that takes me is where it's gonna be the end of the project. Okay, so as you can see, the slit is beginning to kind of come together here. Okay, so just continue working your work until you get to the length that you want, and when that's completed, come back to the video, and then we will look at our skirt all together, and we'll pretty much be wrapping up the video at that point. Okay, I'll see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the number of rows here. So as you can see, we started off on the pink here in the previous clip, and then I just did the project, finished the pink, and then I went off to this kind of off-white-ish. And as you can see, I came back because that's all I have left, and I don't want to cut that off. And it's also because I plan to use this yarn, probably frog this project and use the yarn for something else, so I don't want to cut it. So what I will do is I will probably, instead of doing a row of the front post, back post double crochet here, because as you can see, it's just a row of double crochet right now, and because of the amount of yarn that I have left, I will probably just go around with a half double crochet stitch to see if this can get me all the way to the other side, and I really hope it will. But otherwise, the project, I will just kind of finish it off and then we'll be done. What else? Yes, so that's pretty much it. So this is pretty much going to be the length of the skirt here. So mini skirt, nice size for me, and I'm so happy that the yarn actually got me to the size that I wanted. And if we see, let's just kind of quickly measure here. So if we measure in inches, we have about 16 inches for the length of the miniskirt, which is awesome. Usually it's around that length for the miniskirt for my size, okay? And again, for those who want to know, my size is between small and medium. So that is what we have here. So I'm just gonna quickly show you then how to do that final row due to the yarn. You don't have to do this part. If you want to finish your project like this and you just have the final row of double crochet, please leave it there and just cut your yarn off and you wrap it up. And if you want to finish with the row of the front post, back post double crochet, you can also do that. So the finishing of the skirt is going to be absolutely up to you. I personally think finishing it off with like a double crochet stitch at the end looks a little bit nice, but that's going to be up to you on what you want to do. And the only reason I'm doing this row of the half double crochet is literally just to use up the small amount of yarn that I have left, so I don't want to cut it off, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that, and I'll finish it off, and then we'll come back and finish the video. Okay, so for here, for the half double crochet, I will do a chain of 1, and then I'll flip my work. And then from here on, so this single crochet, chain here, it's going to go towards this double crochet from the previous row. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into the next stitch right here and complete a half double crochet. So I go through all 3 loops like that, and then go into the next stitch and do a half double crochet, and then just continue to do this around. Okay, so again, nothing too complicated, just a final different stitch. This is not something I was planning to do. I was hoping whatever yarn I have left will take me to the end of the row, but I'm hoping that doing this stitch here will help me finish off the amount of yarn I have left, and then I can just finish wrapping that up like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just continue working on this. Do this half double crochet stitch all the way around. If I can make it around, I hope I do. If I don't make it around, I will figure out a way to fix that. And maybe I will be forced to cut it. I really don't want to. Or the other thing that I will probably do if it doesn't work like this is I can do a single crochet around. So we will see. But for now, I'm just gonna try this half double crochet around, and if I can make it to the other side, I will finish the video off. I will just weave in, I think this is the only thing we have hanging. I will weave in this end here, and then weave in whatever yarn I will finish it off here with. And then I'll come back to the video to pretty much kind of conclude it with you guys. Okay, all right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and just did that single row of the half double crochet here, and as you can see, my yarn decided to just kind of end literally maybe 10 stitches before I was able to finish. And this really sucks because I would have really just liked to finish this here, but guess what, I'm not gonna stress over that. I'm gonna leave it here, to be honest, because I really would like to frog this project and do another one. And I really don't want to cut anything, so I don't want to undo this, cut it just to make it look nice, because this is just meant to be for that. I'm just gonna leave it there. So what I will do here is I will just kind of finish off this stitch. I'm just gonna kind of slip stitch, to be honest, like go keep doing wait, what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm just gonna let's do a final half double crochet here and see where that takes us. Yeah, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. And then I will just kind of weave in that little tail. And then when I frog this, I can just retrieve this section here so that I can then have a good place to start with and not have to like search for it. So I'm just gonna do something like this. I think this is the first time it has happened to me, but I'm now, like I said, I'm in an era of frogging old projects and reusing the yarn to do more projects just to be able to be financially or to be cost effective. And for that reason, I don't want to cut it if I don't have to cut it. But anyways, obviously go finish your project properly. Don't leave it like this. This is not the point of the tutorial. So go ahead and finish your project properly. And then what I also did was I weaved in at the end of where we joined our project here. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So that's it. The slit is right here. So when you wear it, it will probably be something more like this. And I'll probably try to do something so that I can flatten this area down, or the other way would be also to see how it is. So this project, you can wear it both ways because it's exactly the same on all sides. So the other thing that I can do is to, yeah, I think flipping it like this would work as well, and just have it like this. That's your slit right here. Yeah, you guys, this is the end of the project. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you guys can make it for yourself, for your friends, for your family. And if you also would like to share the video, please do so with those who would like to use the tutorial to make their own. And as well, please don't forget to subscribe and comment and like. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.